You're listening to Science for Soundness, the podcast. This is not your usual podcast. This is a journey, and as with any journey, I don't know yet where this one is going. If anything, I'm hoping to inspire you to take the first step, even if it's into the unknown, even if you don't know where you're going and you do it scared. Hi, I'm Steffi. I'm an equine scientist and equine therapist. I've made it my mission to support horse owners on their individual journey of horse-human connection and personal growth. I want you to know that I'm with you on this one. Think of me as a friendly voice, a reminder to stay the course, to keep going, keep listening to yourself and to your horse, even when the going gets tough. Let's do this. Okay, we're doing this. Hi, hello. I'm so glad I'm able to sit here with you today, and believe me when I say that I don't take this lightly. I know how valuable time is, and I value your time. This is why I'm grateful that you're hanging out with me right now. My name is Steffi. I'm an equine scientist, having studied horses for my bachelor's and master's degree. I went on to also certify as an equine sports and rehabilitation massage therapist. I've always been a seeker of knowledge and also experiences, and somehow all of this led me here, in front of this microphone, with you right now. I have the great honor to share my time here with my 3 horses: Sun, a Tennessee walking horse mare; Ravi, a Tennessee walking horse gelding; and Rubio, a Spanish cruzado, looking much like a unicorn. Also part of my herd are my 2 sidekick Weimaraners, that's a dog breed by the way, Sky and Gromit, as well as numerous other animals. We live on a small farm, and the herd surrounds the house in the paddock paradise or paddock trail. So it's a bit like a shared house situation over here. I view this place as a sanctuary, not just for my animals, but also for me and everyone around me who is entering this space. This is a space to ground yourself and to dive into all things nature, animals, and self. It really is magic. I mean, there's literally peacocks flying around. That's bonkers, right? And my 5-year-old self would have a total freak out over this. Actually, I still freak out over it regularly. But I love animals, and there's no other way around it. They are a huge part of my life, and I love the fact that I can lend my voice to them. It's super important to me that we don't view animals as items or even accessories. Humans can get so obsessed over ideals and status, when in fact it all boils down to who you are at your core and how you treat your opposite. The science aspect in my background is just that, my background and foundation, so to speak. But I want to do more. I wish to bridge the gap and help open people's hearts and minds towards the fact that we're all connected as we walk this earth together. The way this shows is multifaceted, but we're not better than one another. We're all in this together. So we should all start acting with more kindness towards each other. This goes for humans as well as for animals, by the way. During my studies, I came across the term equine industry, and I remember back then I thought that's super strange to name something so full of personality and loving, breathing, sentient beings an industry, but it is. Horses have become a way to compete with each other, but for the wrong reasons. I know I could list so many species that have been used and abused over centuries, but the horse is very special to me. They have such strength, such power, yet so much softness and clarity. There's so much peace to be found with horses within their herd, which is why I'm excited that more and more people start to question old belief systems, break out of traditional patterns, and start treating their horses with more compassion and kindness instead of trying to dominate them. But anyhow, horses will always fascinate me, so I guess we'll have enough to talk about. The idea for this podcast has been on my mind for such a long time, honestly. And I can't believe that I'm actually sitting here talking to you right now. I'm super excited to share my journey with you and to embark on a new journey and take you along on this one. There comes a time when you have to choose which path you're going to take. Sometimes those choices don't seem reasonable or even clear at the time, but turned out to be the best decision ever in hindsight. I have no idea where this path is going to lead, but I don't feel that is important right now. Every journey starts with the beginning, so I guess in this case we will use the new beginning. If you're anything like me, you probably have been a horse enthusiast for quite some time. Maybe even since you were a little child. Maybe you've always felt that horses have something special around and about them which makes them so unique. Maybe you're a horse owner. Maybe you're looking into diving into this world. Maybe you're confused, just like I was at some stage. There was a time when I was surrounded by plenty of adults who taught me how to handle horses and how to teach them what's right or wrong. But that never really sat well with me. It always bugged me to know that by teaching somebody something my way, it doesn't take their way or view into consideration. It's very one-sided. I was lucky enough to have had a few wonderful horse owners that allowed me to share their horses and learn from them as well as their horses, and then dive deeper into this horse-human connection that I found so fascinating ever since I was a little child. And now, quite a few years later, I'm sitting in front of this microphone and still don't know quite where to start because the word horsemanship has become such a negative associated term in the equine world. When we hear horsemanship, we think about whips, force, and pressure. Horsemanship is supposed to be the combination of horse and human, the way the relationship builds and evolves and grows. If there's anything I'd like you to take away from this first episode, it's this pivotal moment of my journey. You should always listen to that voice inside you. That voice will guide you, but at some stage, we've been taught not to listen to it anymore. So we accept things when we're told. We stop to question, we endure, we shut down, and we suffer in silence. I don't think there's much difference when it comes to horses. Our supposed horsemanship training is teaching them one way, whilst they're being another. And how appealing does that sound? Not very much, if you ask me. I'm so proud of the little girl that chose not to listen to those conventional methods, who decided to try different routes and risk falling flat on her face multiple times for what she believed to be the truth. If I look at the journey I have had with my horses and all the horses that accompanied me throughout my life, all I can say is that I was so lucky they always pushed me on and helped me trust in that intuition. But what if you do not feel connected to yourself? How can you be connected to your horse? How can you work on a connection with your horse if you don't even know what a connection can feel like? You see, to me, horses are so much more than just simply riding machines. And I know this harsh terminology might sound off-putting, but this is the reality in probably 80 to 90% of the yards or even across the world. We expect horses to work for us, even though we have a choice. So, for this first little chat, I want to challenge you to start questioning things, to start noticing the little subtle details, the ear flick, the buck due to a tense back or unfitting tack maybe, the wonky hooves, asymmetrical muscular development, slight rhythm changes in that forebeat, or that tense neck, the release of tension, the chilled morning snooze versus the afternoon nap, the resource guarding versus content, peaceful togetherness. All of it and everything in between. And I know this sounds like a hell of a lot, but the beauty of this is that it all starts right here, with you. I want you to understand that your horse needs you to show up. And that's not just to feed them hay or pat them down or ride on a hack. They need you to show up as yourself, like your true self, fully. It sounds so easy, but it's so hard. And I'm still unpacking, so in case you feel discouraged by this, I hope that you will find encouragement, but also the courage within yourself to explore where this journey will go for you, where growth might take you, where all of this uncovering will lead you and your horse on the path together. I think a good place to start is to realize that nobody, not even the best of the best, have it all, or at least had it all, figured out from day one. They worked for it and they made mistakes along the way, and so will you, so am I. This is what growth looks like. We're all failing forward. And I want you to realize and understand that we should all normalize that. Who set the unrealistic expectation that we should have everything figured out all the time from the beginning? Honestly, it's ridiculous. In order to embark on this journey, you've got to be cool with who you are, or at least to figure out who you are. The next step is to figure out who your horse is and what they need in order to be healthy and lead a happy life. But also, how can you help them discovering who they are? Whenever a fancy trainer is trying to explain that their method is the only method, I feel like waving a big red flag. How a horse newbie is supposed to know which method, which trainer, which equipment, which husbandry method, which diet, which hoof care technique, you get what I'm saying. It's bonkers. I guess my best advice can be to always listen to your horse. And if you can't yet read all the signs and signals, to ask yourself a few simple questions. These actually come from communication between humans, but I think they can be greatly adapted even to the horse world. So, my first question is it true? If it appears to be a forceful method to make your horse do something or be someone, then it's not honest. It's not true horsemanship. The simplest example would be when a horse is ridden in a supposed frame, but all that happens is a rider pulling the horse's head into a position and kicking the horse forward. There's no lightness, no free will, so it's not true. A true horse-human connection should look and feel light like a feather. The horses should shine. The second question, is it necessary? Do you need more equipment to force your horse into a frame on the lunge, like using draw reins? Or could you explain how you'd like them to move without all the extra stuff? So ask yourself, is it necessary? The third question, is it kind? If you have to whip your horse into position or whack the lead rope until the horse feels pain and then moves from that, it's not kind. Whipping your horse forward whilst it is pooping isn't kind. Just imagine me running into your bathroom whilst you're on the toilet, whipping you off it because I want you to move forward. That's so ridiculous. So why is it okay whilst working with our horses? How is it kind? The fourth question, is it helpful? Are you explaining the desired task in a helpful way? Are you breaking the exercise down into little bits to help them succeed on every step of the way? Are you setting your horse up for success? Or are you guaranteeing their failure by not thinking it through beforehand? And in this case, when I say failure, this is not about being a failure, but rather about making sure your sessions are a place of motivation rather than constant correction. Just think about the kind of environment you thrive in. Where do you learn best? Is it helpful? Wow, okay. I feel like we're just scratching the surface, yet we've already gone quite deep on quite a few things here. I just want you to know that you always have yourself. Learn to listen to yourself. Learn to trust yourself. And learn when best not to trust yourself and ask for help. And in the meantime, find interesting literature about learning theory or equine husbandry or herd behavior or different ways of riding, whatever interests you. And then find what resonates with you the most. And most importantly, don't believe everything you read. Dare to ask questions. If it's shiny and promises the world, it probably is good for almost nothing. Stay humble. And probably most importantly, learn to tune in and dare to remain a student of your horse for the entire time you have with them. You cannot go wrong that way. I'm so glad you're here with me for this ride. Hi friend, I hope you found something in this episode that resonated with you. I'm beyond grateful that you hung out with me today for a little while, and I do hope that you come along for the ride. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, and if you feel like it, leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. If you have any questions or would like me to talk about a certain topic, check the show notes for ways to get in touch. I can't wait for next time. You got this.